In a world that often feels overwhelmed by struggle, there are still lights that shine with purpose, compassion, and real impact. This is one of them. Welcome to a movement that's changing lives, not with promises, but with action. More Hope Now isn't just a name. It's a mission to uplift, to empower, and to support the children who need it most. Led by the unwavering dedication of CEO Tahira Lee and CFO Tarik Lee, More Hope Now reaches beyond borders to provide opportunity, healing, and most of all, hope. They're helping build a world where every child matters. This podcast is about that mission, about real stories, real people, and the ripple effect of doing good. This is More Hope Now.
More Hope Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. With us today, we have two very special guests: leadership, legacy, and community impact, and are really the true beacon of hope. Speaking of hope, whom I call Doc Hope myself, CEO and co-founder of Hope House Enterprises, Dr. Tahira Lee. Hi, Tahira.
Hey, King Jordan. No, you call me Dr. Hope, I call you King Jordan.
And accompanying Tahira, we have CFO and co-founder Hope House Enterprises, Tarik Lee. Tarik, how you doing, my man?
Hey, I'm blessed by the best, man. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. So this one's going to be exciting because what we really want to know is what inspired you to start this wonderful cause, Hope House Enterprises?
What an amazing question. And that's a question that we get asked all the time, as you can imagine. And they said, this is crazy. Why would you do this? Kids, community development, all of it. Simply put, we were in the community. We were young parents. We were struggling. We saw the lack of resources, not only just for kids, for the youth, but for parents that wanted to level up their lives, that wanted to have more. So we said, you know what? More than ever, the world needs more hope. So it was born. It was born. I know we're going to dive deep and talk more about what hope actually means, but I'll go ahead and give it away. Hope means helping others pursue elevation. And that's what we come to do in the community, right?
Yeah, and we just didn't pop up. A lot of people think we just popped up out of the ground, and it's something new. It's something that we've been doing way over 10 years. It started in Florida, as the CEO and my amazing wife said, and it started in that community, and it extended out to the churches, and it just bloomed and blossomed, and it impacted so many lives, and this is the next evolution of that.
Wonderful. So what was the impact point that, led to you guys thinking that, there should be something like Hope House Enterprises? What was the defining point?
I think the defining point when we talk about, because we're three arms, right? We're education, community, and affordable housing. So when we talk about the impact of education, our last child, we have six children.
Oh, yeah.
And the last child really struggled. I was her first teacher. I homeschooled her. I decided I wanted to get back into the corporate sector. And they said, hey, there's something going on with this child. She doesn't learn right. Like something's wrong with her brain. There's something going on. She's never going to be able to compete with the other students. And I said, because, but the ego was like, wait, what do you mean? I was her teacher. She knows her ABC. She learned all these skills that was ahead of track. But what I found out was that the school that she was scheduled to go to didn't have the resources for the type of learner that she had. With me, she had an individualized curriculum. I paid attention to how she learned, the best time for her to learn, the subjects that she loved to learn. And I created her curriculum based on that. And I saw that how she thrived in a homeschool setting. So, of course, we snatched her back. We snatched her back and, we said, we're going to take this into our own hands. And then we used her as a model to develop the blueprint and the model for other kids, to say, hey, if this worked for her, individualizing education on their terms, on their strengths, that could probably work for the masses.
The traditional school didn't work for her. She didn't like just sitting down. She's been an entrepreneur, even though she's about to be 15, but for her whole life. She asked me for something for her birthday. It was these Kinder eggs. I bought her a box of Kinder eggs. She sold them. She would go and make cookies with her friends. She sell the cookies. So she'll ask for one of the big things of potato chips, the variety pack. She'll go out into the community and sell them. So she's always had this spirit of entrepreneurship that wasn't being taught in school, but when you see her do it, you saw her light up. You saw her happy. You saw her engaged. And that's how we knew she learned different. And when she's doing what she was passionate about, there was no stopping her. So,
Your
that
partners in hope, your partners in real life as well. I mean, like, this is obviously a question everyone would be asking you guys. I'm sure you get this a lot, that how do you manage like career, kids, other things, and Hope House Enterprises? Like, how do you manage?
Oh
Is
my
it
goodness.
hard? Is it like,
It's hard because, we've been married for 20 plus years. We have 6 children and
mostly adults, 4 adults.
we have 4 adults now, but we still have 6 children,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then especially like in the earlier stages, because they're back to back to back. Imagine you trying to manage a team, manage an organization. You got small kids back to back, screaming, yelling at you. It was difficult. So a lot of the times we would go out at each other and like, okay, you got an attitude today. Well, you got an attitude. We just realized that we needed not balance, but harmony. And so my husband decided that, hey, we're going to implement date night once a week, no exception. We're going to take time out. We're going to get monthly massages. When the office hours close, you're no longer the CEO, you're my wife, because I was blurred.
That was a tough one for her.
I was blurring the lines.
She's CEO 24/7, 365, 366 on leap year. So that is a tough one for her. And but like you said, harmony, just taking time to make sure that the family's good, the business is thriving, that she's thriving as an individual, and I'm thriving. It's so many components, but it's making sure we're checking in on each other, checking in on the children. And of course, we have so many people, so many partners in Hope, making sure that they're good, the business is going in the direction that it needs to. So it's like an octopus with 100 arms, but hey, we're managing it, and it's I love it.
100 arms, 1,000,000 arms. This is an empire, baby. We got 1,000,000 arms going on.
now I also wanted to speak to you guys about like, what Hope House is doing in detail. But before that, I would want to know like if you guys could address the problems in the current education system that is in place for the masses. And then we can talk about how Hope House or why Hope House is the ultimate solution. So like, what do you think that, how is the current education system that is in place? What are the weaknesses? What are the flaws? And there would be some pros as well if you want to shed light on that as well. Like, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I talked about this in my TED Talk in South Africa. Simply put, it's outdated. It was made for an industrial age that no longer exists. You've been taught the same way for hundreds of years with minimal advancements. And so it has not, especially with the public school in marginalized communities, the technology has not rose to the demand and the needs and the attention span of the learner. So they're disengaged. Like, they're bored to death. You know what I mean? It's not engaging content. It doesn't anything where there are. They don't see themselves, how it relates in real life and how they can use it practically when the school bell rings after school. Like, what am I going to do with this information? there is a study in 2023 that would study like out of all the United States, how many graduates graduated, it's 86%. That study dialed down, like how many of those were ready for life? It was only 11%. So you have 86% of the United States graduating, which is awesome. But if you only have 11% ready for life because they're not social, emotional, and intelligent, they don't understand their impact on each other and the planet, like that's a huge gap.
No, I was about to hand it over to you and say the same thing that you spoke about this in South Africa. But I mean, to her point, the traditional schooling has not kept up with the times at all. I mean, they're teaching my children how they taught me, basic memorization and regurgitation. There's so many different ways and modalities for children to learn now, but the mass way that school is teaching is the way they taught me in the 1900s. It has to change. It needs to change. And Hope House is, of course, leading the way with that. So
yes, the 1900s.
Well, with Hope House, like, who does it serve essentially, and how?
Yeah, it serves that independent, hungry, motivated learner that wants more, and they know that it's more in life. It's more than just, oh, I've got to get up and try to run to the school bus at 6 a.m. For a high school student, they got to go to school super early, sit through a bunch of lectures, sit down where they have all this energy and this passion inside them, and then they're being told what to learn. You have to learn this, but what about what I want to learn?
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited about this AP bio, but I am an artist. Like I have a passion and a drive for art, or I want to be a real estate mogul because I've already been looking. Science says, and this is not me, but this is not opinion, this is facts. Science says by the age of 10, the core essence of who you are is who you are, right? So if you're going to be an artist, a scientist, a real estate mogul, a doctor, a teacher, whatever, that core is there. But imagine an education system that partnered with you and dug that out and defined that for you. And you said, oh, yeah, I would love to. Yeah, that is me. And they spent the next decade pairing you with the people in that profession, in that industry, giving you the tools, giving you practical and hands-on training in that. Could you imagine what the workforce would look like?
And money.
And money, yeah, because they earn why they learn because, hey, we got to go to work every day, right? We get compensated. We tell our students that, oh, you've heard this from your parents. Oh, your only job is to go to school and get good grades and do your chores. But why are you not paying you for it then, huh? These kids are smart. They're slick. So the added compensation to be able to have a trust that's attached to the learning and rewarding them because they get to learn how that money works and how to have the money work for them versus working for the money. Right. Exactly. So I just think it is the breath of fresh air. It is the solution to so many problems that we're facing in the education system. Teachers are bailing out left and right. They said, I'd rather go work at Wendy's. I'm getting paid the same thing and I have less stress. I heard a teacher actually say that when I was soliciting her. She's like, I'd rather work at Wendy's. That's deep. That's deep. But we see it. You go on TikTok, Instagram, you see so many stories of kids acting out, being disruptive, and not because they got all this pent up energy and nobody's hearing them and nobody's seeing them. But we see them, you see them, and we're giving them an opportunity to have their voices heard and have them illuminate and just go for everything that the creator created them for, honestly.